weekdays at noon, 8 and 11 p.m.
And welcome back. In 1987, Pat Cash started a Wimbledon tradition unlike any other. After taking out world number one Yvonne Lendl, he climbed into the stands and up to the players' box at center court to celebrate with family and friends. It was a magical moment that will forever be a part of Wimbledon lore. And the great Pat Cash joins us now on Tennis Channel Live. And Pat, we tried to get you on 4 weeks ago during our greatest of all time shows. This was the early days of Skype, so not everybody was able to make a connection. But it's great to have you now. You were one of 17 Aussies to make our top 100 of all time. What did that mean to you to be one of the greatest to ever play the game?
Are you sure that's correct? I don't know about that, but who voted? Did my mum get a vote? She must have got a vote in somewhere.
We love you, Pat.
No, it's a great honour. I suppose I had a good run for a short period of time in between my injuries, so I was proud of what I did.
Pat, I have to ask you: at what point after you won match point for the Wimbledon Championship did you decide to Billy Goat your way up into the stands? Because it wasn't a clear path by any stretch.
No, in actual fact, it was. I thought about it the night before, and it was only that after I sort of shook hands with Yvonne and the umpire, I thought, you know what? And if you've been at Wimbledon, and you know how quickly the ceremony goes. And
yes.
Before you know it, you look around and the carpet is there, the ball kids are lined up, and the linesmen are there, and the royal family are halfway out. And I thought, wow, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So off I go. And in those days, they had this big area where there was standing room only, where there was no seats. Of course, now you think it's ridiculous. How did they have that? But they did this area where people could come and stand all day for a really cheap price. And I got to that area and I realized, oh, my goodness, there's no more people's chairs. And no word of a lie. If you replay that back, right in the corner as I'm getting on the commentating box, I'm standing there thinking, what am I going to do? And I looked down and there was a priest. And he said, stand on my shoulder, my son. And,
what?
And I was like, I'm not joking you. And so I think this is divine intervention. And I stood on the guy's shoulder, and I got my way up there. And I only found out later it was a guy dressed as a priest.
So it wasn't a celestial moment because you did get to your father, our father. Let me ask you this: you obviously were always able to play off the crowd so well, and it was an uproarious applause that you got when you won. I wonder if you can even imagine tennis coming back without fans. I mean, how much did fans do to you, and would you want to see tennis played without an audience?
Look, I don't think anybody wants to see tennis play without an audience, but I think tennis players want to play, and I think the public would love to watch some tennis. You guys must be you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel talking to me now. You know, you just want some action out there and to talk over that. So, you know, I think at this stage, anybody would be happy just to get out there and play. It's not ideal. You know, I don't know what's going on, but I think most of the players are starting to, the players I've talked to and the coaches are starting to resign to the fact that there may not be any slams this year. There may not be any tennis. But, look, we don't know. And the only thing we can do is to stay fit and healthy. And I'm in a great position where I'm working with the young American Brandon Nakashima. And, we're out there. We're distancing every day. A good thing about being a tennis coach or maybe a golfer is that you're not really that far, not close together other than, throwing some balls in the basket or whatever. So, we can still continue a lot of work, but, we want to compete.
1987 Wimbledon champion Pat Cash joining us here from San Diego on Tennis Channel Live. You mentioned you're working with the American teenager, Brandon Nakashima. You've worked with Greg Brzezinski. You've worked with Mark Philippoussis, Coco Vandeweghe. You have also coached our own Mary Carrillo, albeit in a different sport, Pat. Tell us what's going on here.
I remember this day well. Yeah. Pat's dad played for this team, and he taught me Aussie rules football. What I remember most, Pat, is my first question to you, because I was watching video of Aussie rules football. First question I asked you is, must all of the athletes go directly back to prison after the game is over?
Yeah, it's a pretty tough sport. Look, I've seen lots of sports around the world, and I legitimately think these guys are the best all-round athletes that I've ever seen. They are incredibly strong. They run. This is the size of the field. It's not a small field. It's bigger than Olympic-sized track, and they run backwards and forwards. They tackle and jump and twist and turn and all that sort of sprinting everywhere, and of course getting thumped in the head a lot of the time as well, unfortunately. But no, it's a great sport. It's something I grew up with. It was my number one sport. My dad played, and you came down and had a look at this sport. And one of the players you saw there is actually Margaret Court's nephew. So wow. He's one of our best players, and he's a superstar athlete, as you would imagine. And so it is the number one sport in Australia, and I think that holds tennis back a little bit as far as producing more particularly men players.
Well, Australia has of late produced Ash Barty and Nick Kyrgios. I wonder, it's such a sports-mad country you come from. How affected has Australia been by this pandemic, and what do you expect as a break like this? Is Kyrgios using his time well? Is Ash? She likes breaks, and she's always done well with them. What do you think is going on in Australia?
Well, the Aussie, it's as I said, Australia was such a mad sporting nation that we were probably one of the last people to pull away. We had our first round of that Aussie rules that was there, and it's to an empty crowd, empty stadium. I think Ash would be, I think she'd be actually quite enjoying this. She's had a big couple of years. I mean, we're so proud of her, and she's loved by everybody. She goes along her own business. I've had some great association with her, working with Coco Vandeweghe. Of course, they won the US Open, and that almost kick-started her great rise. I always thought it would be the US Open that she would do well. I didn't expect the French Open, but she played magnificently there. And what to be number one singles and doubles it's a phenomenal effort from somebody who not 18 months before, not even was 20 or so in the world, and it really is a great performance. I think she'll enjoy the break. I think she needs a bit of a break. Nick Kyrgios, look, I'm not sure. I'm not in I'm not in communication with him particularly, but I know he loves his indoor PlayStation games and everything. So he probably gets burnt out thumbs, is my guess.
Virtual tennis, they're doing that in Madrid this year. Pat Cash, the legend, a premeditated dash with some divine intervention into the stands at Wimbledon. Stay healthy, stay safe, and thanks for taking the time to join us here on Tennis Channel Live.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
All right, much more still to come on the show. Yep, a mixed doubles duo for the ages. Sir Andy, Marina, they're next.